sunglass season at 6 o'clock worship.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be with you and all those who may be joining us online tonight. Just glad to be with you on this beautiful evening. We have time to sign up for the Easter garden. We'll be creating an Easter garden as we do every year, and there's some forms in the back if you're interested in helping with that. Otherwise, in the e-news or in the newsletter, there'll be a little sign-up piece there. 27th and 28th. I know that on the top of our minds is just the news. There's a lot in the news. So I just want you to know that as there's things swirling around us about the coronavirus, and just like all the other organizations, we've been watching this, we're paying attention, we've got plans in place, and the moment that it becomes clear, it's really a time to just be loving and careful with one another in a season that is anxious in a variety of ways. It's part of our practicing compassion. So with that,
yes,
I'll let you start there.
All right, so let us stand and join in our gathering prayer. This is the time when light fades, or not quite yet, and shadows lengthen and sound. In sharing it.
It's about loving your neighbor as yourself. It's an important part of compassion, is the way that we love neighbor, but then also how we love self. And in the Karen Armstrong, if we're really going to be able to love ourselves well. So she talks about how we need to, we kind of need to deal with our grief, our shadow side, the stuff that haunts us, and we need to be self-aware. We need to, like in that class we took where we had our strength finders, that kind of self-awareness. This is a picture of a flywheel. So our assignment was to make a flywheel. So we did not go we did not get out our toolbox. But a flywheel is actually a business model that was created by Jim Collins through his work. A flywheel is when a whole bunch of things work together and they're all working well, and at some point they start working well, and you're riding a bike and everything's working well, and then suddenly, boom, you can really move. So Amazon's done that well. The action of things, and then use a large scale. So like that needed to be good. And in the last 6 or 7 years, we've had these amazing signature ministries develop. In fact, that was part of Amazon's thing. What happens when somebody looks us up on the website? Is that a good experience? What happens when they walk in the door on Sunday night or on Wednesday morning? What happens when they come in here for the first time? What happens if they show up to youth group for the first time? Right? So it's the whole thing is extravagant welcome. Well, the point is that these things, if any one of those pieces isn't working, then you just can't get forward momentum, right? Because, you can have excellent worship, but if you don't welcome anybody when they walk in the door, then they're not going to come back. Or you could have, they come to church and they aren't welcomed. Any of those pieces going wrong then can make a significant difference. But when they all start working well, then there's this movement and motion, and then boom. And I think we're at that point where I have been feeling some push and some momentum in our church because of these things. So that's the idea of a flywheel. So I've been thinking about that out for this idea of how do we show compassion for ourselves? What kind of flywheel could we create for ourselves to grow compassion for ourselves? Aware of past pain difference in your life? Yeah, it really, and really good sibling relationships are really powerful in our lives, our personal health. So our soul work, some of what we do here, tending to our spirit, like when we were sitting in church on Sunday and Christy was playing the Via Dolorosa, opportunities to study, to learn. I know that I'm a learner, so if I'm reading and I'm learning, I'm much happier. So being able to grow of your body, I think that we're thinking about that right now as we're hearing about coronavirus and wondering it's really hard to feel like you important teachings of the Bible, a pattern that then we can use for loving our neighbor with our heart, soul, mind, and strength. And then what I just laid out for you in that flywheel is loving ourself with our pieces. A flywheel within a flywheel within a flywheel. Wouldn't it be amazing if our whole selves were healthy and working well? I'm singing this as a round, but I think that it might be hard with like 18 people in the room. What do you think? Why don't we just, it's 5 verses, so let's sing it all through. And now let's share this blessing. For the day now done,
Thanks be to God for the rest before us. For the show,
if you go into the heritage room, you might end up in a place.
you might end up having